in this particular episode, I was just thinking about, the difficulties and all the challenges that we go through sometimes that make us think that certain things are not ready yet. So I want to talk about the fact that there will always be reason why you should not do something. There will always be reason why you should not start. But the important thing is that you can actually create a reason why to start. So if you're going through that challenge or that phase where there's something you really want to do, something you really want to go for, but all you keep coming up with are excuses why you cannot actually do that. There are excuses why those things cannot actually work. That is actually, it's not something that is unique to you. It's something that is unique to every other person out there. So don't feel so much bad about it, but be wary, because that is something that can actually continue to protract into the future and affect every other part of your life. Because if you always feel that there's a reason, if you always find that reason, it means that there is something wrong with your psychology. There's something wrong with the way you think, and that needs to be fixed. Now, I'm not saying that you're sick or something, but I'm just trying to talk about your ideology, the way you think. There's something wrong with it. It has been skewed, and this can be as a result of past trauma, disappointments, the failures you've suffered in the past, things that you've tried to work on and they don't work, so you just, all those experiences, are now heavy laden on you, making you feel that every other thing is going to go that way, every other thing is going to take that pattern. Since the last three you tried didn't work out, the fourth thing you're going to try is not going to work out. So that becomes a mentality. It's more like a rat race, a vicious cycle. You're always expecting something to go wrong, even when things are going right, even when things are absolutely normal and smooth. Somewhere in your mind you're thinking it's going to go wrong, something is going to go happen that is going to spoil the whole thing that you're enjoying right now. That is a flawed thinking that needs to be fixed. And for that reason, I want to say is about you giving yourself permission to think right, you allowing yourself to think positive, you allowing yourself to believe that things can go right. That is just the way to solve this problem. When you have any small thing that goes right for you, when you have a small win, it's important that you celebrate it. It is important that you highlight it very well. Now, what that does is that when you highlight your little wins, even though they are very little, when you highlight it, you get to tell your brain that, okay, I can also win. Things can actually go well for me. Yes, I might have had a bad past, I must have had difficulties in the past, but right now things are going well for me and things can go well for me. If any other thing comes up that I have to do, instead of me thinking about the reasons, the major reasons or the different 20 reasons why they're not going to work, rather my brain will actually help me this time to tell me that, okay, you told me the other time that things worked out for you, you told me the other time that you had a win, so why not focus on the fact that you had a win then, that you can also have a win now. It's more like a reverse psychology. You begin to work on your brain, begin to work on the way you think because of the messages you send to your brain. So it's important that you celebrate every little win that you have. Now, I know a lot of times, want our wins to be very big. If they're very little, you don't feel obliged to celebrate them. You'll be like, oh no, I'm still chasing something big. My mind is on something else. This is a small win, this doesn't matter, and things like that. No, every single thing matters, because every single thing that is negative affects you. So why not you make everything positive to also affect you? Because if you're not trying to make those positive things, even though they are very little, if you're not trying to make them have an impact in your thinking, in your mindset, in your brain, if you're not trying to make them have impact, the bad ones, the negative ones that are happening are actually going to make impact, whether you like it or not. Difference between good and evil, that is a different thing that we have to talk about. But there's always a likelihood for us to be attracted or to latch onto something that is negative, something that is bad, as compared to something that is good. When something good happens, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's not a big deal. But when something bad happens, you are like very much attracted to it. You kind of stick to it, you kind of think about it a lot, kind of trying to revolve around it, maybe thinking of the reason why it happened, maybe also thinking of how we can resolve the issue and all of that. And that is why, like they say, trauma sells, like they say, bad news, sells a lot. News channels, the news media, this is how they make their money. A bulk of their money is coming from the fact that they are able to put out negative news. And I'm not saying that they get paid directly for it, but I'm saying that because of that, they get eyeballs, and on that eyeballs, they now play ads and everything like that, which is actually a fantastic business model. All they needed is to get the eyeballs. How to get the eyeballs? By giving you those shocking news, those breaking news. That is why news channels like that breaking news aspect, that they have to talk about flash news, breaking news and all of that, looking for where there is war. Now go listen to Al Jazeera, for example. There was a time I actually had to stop myself from listening to viewing Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera, if you don't know, is a news channel. They most talk about Yemen and the rest of all those places where they are fighting wars. They talk about crisis, talk about shortage, talk about different things that are actually negative, that have negative impact. But that is what they talk about, because they want to instill fear in you. They want to instill, lack in you. They want to instill that feeling of remorse, feeling of badness in you. And guess what? Because people want something good, intentionally they want something good for themselves. So they want to know where the bad things are happening so that they can avoid them. So they want to know where things are going wrong so that they can find a way to protect themselves from it. When they see the negative news, they want to listen to it, they want to watch it, they want to follow up with it. And that is why I say those kind of negative things stick to us easily compared to the good things. So as your brain also does that naturally for you, whether you like it or not, when you have two experiences, your brain actually remembers the bad one very well and tries to work around it, retain it very well compared to the good one. So it's on you now to decide to trick your brain, if you will call it that, but in order to make your brain actually appreciate the good ones when they happen. Whenever anything happens good in your life, in your experience, in your job, in your activity, anything, try to stop, take a pause and appreciate that. Let it sink in, let it marinate in your brain so that your brain will understand that this is also a possibility. This is something that should be appreciated. And so whatever thing I'm working on in the future, whatever thing I'm looking out to do in the future, my brain should always remember that things can go right, things can be well, things can be good. I can have a good experience because I have had it in the past. So that can actually happen for me. I'm not thinking that every other time or something can go wrong. And this is the issue we have with having plan B's, plan C's, plan D's. And people think that this is a smart idea. Yes, of course, it actually works very well for a lot of people, thinking that, okay, if the first idea didn't work, second one should work. You should always have plan B. Good and fine. But also, plan B has a negative impact on us because this is all coming from that thing I'm talking about in the first place. You not believing that things will work well for you. You always thinking that, 20 reasons why things will go wrong. Because if you don't think that something will go wrong, why should you have plan B? If you're not expecting something to go wrong, why should you bother having plan C? But when you already have it in mind that things can go wrong, you start having plans, backup plans for that. And when you have a backup plans, guess what? Nature has a way of doing things. It's going to create opportunity and things and circumstances that will make you actually use that your plan B, to make you actually apply that your plan C, so that you will think that you are smart. Now, a situation has come up, you have to use a plan B, and you'll be like, oh yeah, you see, I actually made a good plan, having my plan B ready or having my plan C ready. Now, that validates your fear, and for that reason, you are going to repeat it again. That puts you in the perpetual cycle of not believing that things can work out for you. So if you always have plan B for things, if you always have plan C for things, you have to really check out your mindset. I'm not saying you should not have plans and all of that. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying for the mere reason that you have to do that means you already have a negative feeling that things are going to go wrong. You already have a feeling that what you are planning to do is not going to work out. You have to put on another backup measure in case that fails. But if you always believe that it's going to go right, if you always believe that it's going to be positive, you don't really have to worry about plan B. Yes, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. It can always be fixed. But if it goes right, that keeps telling you that, okay, this is possible and you should repeat it. Keep thinking like that. Keep structuring your mind to think positive and expect positive at all times. That is going to make your life better. I think that you should also think about this and, check out how it affects your life and how your life has been revolving around you, not trusting yourself, you not believing yourself, you're always thinking that things are not going to work out well for you. Because for real, if you think that, if you expect that, then you're going to get that. So that's what I have about this, guys, and I hope that this actually is very interesting and pass a good message across. Let me know what you think about it, about having other plans aside from the initial plans, about having to think about things not going well for you and things like that. Have you ever been in that situation? Of course, I believe you must have been. So let me know in the comment section, depending on where you're listening to this, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, whatever place. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.